Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Makakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone of all well. And Shalom to Akim teaching this word around the globe with faith and truth and sincerity. I'm Brother Caleb from the GMS London Forecasters Camp coming back at you with another lesson to edify the Lord's elect. As always, I start by saying we are the real Hebrew Israelites. The real Israelites, these so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, and West Africans predominantly, but you are going to get Israelites that do look like the other nations because we as a people have been scattered amongst all nations throughout our various captivities. But if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible that was named Israel, then you too are an Israelite no matter what you may look like. Because the book of Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18 states that your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. So I'm just going to speak on this article I've got here. And this is beautiful news. Signs of the times we're coming into. We've seen this going down in Babylon the Great, which is America, and now it's making its way over here to the UK. So this is from the Guardian newspaper, website, I should say. And this is the headline. It says, NHS C-19 jabs to be compulsory for NHS staff in England from April. Mandatory Vs will be introduced for the NHS England's 1.2 million full-time staff from next year. Beautiful news. Now, obviously, we know that we shouldn't take the V, pertaining to Leviticus chapter 19, verse 28, which I believe says, "You shall not make any cuttings in your flesh, nor print any marks upon you." So the people who are going to get caught up in this are the people who don't have any faith in the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and are doing their own will, and they're going to get punished accordingly for it. So it says, published today, Wednesday, the 3rd of November, C-19V is to be made, or what? Let's just say Serpents Juice. The Serpents Juice is to be made compulsory for the NHS's 1.45 million staff in England, despite criticism that forcing the frontline personnel to get jabbed is heavy-handed and will lead some to quit. However, the tough new approach will not come into force until April, after Sajid Javid heeded warnings that introducing it soon could lead to an exodus of staff during the winter, the health service's busiest time of year. An announcement is due imminently, The Guardian understands. The Health Secretary appears to have been influenced by NHS providers and the NHS Confederation, the two organisations that represent the NHS Trust in England, strongly advising him to delay implementing the move until next year. On Monday, Chris Hobson, the Chief Executive of NHS providers, said that while a majority of the hospital's bosses backed jabs becoming compulsory, more than 90% of them feared it could exacerbate the understaffing that is already endemic across the service. He highlighted the potential loss of those staff who don't take the Serpents Juice when the service is already under huge pressure and carrying 93,000 doses. He said the government must recognise the risk of losing unveed frontline staff and support efforts to maximise voluntary take-up first. The latest NHS figures show that 90% of the NHS personnel in England, 1,303... What number is this? 1,303, 605. I guess, well, it's not thousands, it's million, isn't it? 1,303, 605 out of 1,045,452,256 have had 2 doses of the vaccine. So lucky I was getting a bit carried away reading those numbers. However, as recently as September, the figure was as low as 78%, at barely out of 3 in 4, which is barely out of 3 in 4 in some trusts. One of the NHS sources said, given the NHS is a horror show just now with unprecedented pressure all over the place, to chuck an additional spanner in the works by making Serpents Juice jabs mandatory would be foolhardy, and Sajid Javid isn't a foolhardy politician. The policy is likely to be controversial with many NHS staff groups opposed to it. It's lucky. It says, we do not think that mandating the C19 Serpents Juice is mandatory for doctors is either necessary or proportionate. So if it's true, of course it's true that the Department of Health is pressing ahead with this compulsory Serpents Juice, we would be very wary, said Professor Helen Stokes Lampard, the chair of the Academy of Medical Royal Colleges, which represents all the UK's doctors professionally. While we do think that it is professional responsibility of the doctors to get the jab, when we know that more than 92% of them have already done so, you have to ask why such a heavy-handed approach is being taken, especially when this could lead to damaging disputes at a local or national level, which could be nothing more than a distraction from the real challenges that the NHS workforce is facing right now. The British Medical Association, the Doctors' Union, last week urged Javid to delay making jabs compulsory until the Department of Health and Social Care had undertaken an impact assessment to give ministers an idea of how many staff might quit if it is introduced. Dr. Chad Nagpal, the BMA's chair of council, stressed the legal and ethical and practical implications of pressing ahead with the policy, and said that any reduction in healthcare workers could be devastating for patient services, as we face a record backlog of care and winter pressures. Lucky bear with me. So it says, Javid already made Serpents Juice mandatory for care home staff in England from Thursday 11th of November. Anyone working in a care home will have to prove they've been double jabbed or face being dismissed. The most recent data suggests about 90% of the sector's 600,000 personnel have had 2 doses, leaving 60,000 who have not. Social care experts have said that compulsion could lead to many thousands of staff deciding to quit, worsening already chronic shortages in the service. Some hospitals in the US have made Serpents Juice compulsory for their staff. Last month, 2 hospital groups in New Jersey fired 238 workers for refusing to comply. RWJ Barnabas Health, which runs 15 hospitals in the state, terminated the contracts of 118 personnel, while Virtual Health said 120 staff had elected to discontinue their employment instead of getting jabbed. Neither health provider disclosed details of what types of health professionals are left over the policy. The Department of Health and Social Care spokesperson said, "We have taken action to introduce Serpents Juice requirements in care homes, and we recently consulted on extending this further across health and other social care services. No final decisions have been made, and we will set out our response in due course." Serpents Juice is safe and effective, yeah, the same shit. And almost 4 in 5 people in the UK have already had both jabs to protect themselves against the C thing. Yeah, but they ain't had their boosters, have they? It's never too late to take up the offer, and we would urge anyone who is eligible to come forward as we head into the winter months. So that's the end of the article. So this is beautiful, man. Revelation 12 and 12, baby. Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe, meaning destruction, to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Esau's going down. Revelation 13 verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Jumping down to verse 14, and he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by the sword and did live, which is speaking about the revival of the Roman Empire. Because the Roman Empire had the wound to the head, it fell for a time. Now it's come back into power. So that's that great dragon. We're living in the revival of the Roman Empire, but it's coming towards its end. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he calls if all, see the times we're coming into, man, and he calls if all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And it says, Revelation 14, verse 8, and there followed a great angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all the nations to drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And a third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. Now the mark of the beast isn't the serpent's juice. The serpent's juice is the precursor to the mark, because the mark is the implantable RFID microchip, and that's really Esau's goal. They want to hit everybody with this chip so they can track, trace, and control everybody on the earth. And the angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up for ever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receives the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the Most High and the faith of Yahweh Shai. Jumping into Zechariah 13, is it? And 8? That one? Yeah, Zechariah 13 and 8, I believe. And it should come... No, that's not what I want. Zechariah 12 and 8. Bear with me, I'll find this. Fire. That's Zechariah 14. It's not it. Bear with me, I'll find this precept. Alright, bear with me while I find this precept to close out. Right, it's Zechariah 14 and 12. So as close as 14 and 12 I want. It says, yeah, right, here we go. Zechariah 14 verse 12, and this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. And that's going to be done mainly by the ICBM intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's what's going to cause this to happen, for the people to be standing on their feet and their flesh consuming away whilst they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouths. That's the plague wherewith the Most High is going to smite the vast majority of the people of this earth who take that mark. So with that, giving all praises, honor and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone of all well. And shalom to Akim, teaching this word around the globe with faith and truth and sincerity. And until the next lesson, Lord willing, I say shalom and a baba and kwame shalom. Shalom for now.